Welcome back to Fast Market, everyone. Kevin Hinks and Kevin Green back here now for our cash tag segment. I want to bring in the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, Mr. Andy Swan, to the show. He's going to talk about our second trade of the day, which is TJX. Andy, welcome to the show as always. Thanks for coming on. I have deep respect for a company like this that finds an area of the economy like full price retailers dumping their goods on them. They discounted 20 to 60% and they resell it, and their stock is doing better in many ways than the full service apparel retailers out there. I appreciate that, Andy. Give us your data on TJX and what they're doing to, I think, really revolutionize. They've been doing it for a while, but they're revolutionizing apparel and how it's sold, Andy.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. The execution that this company produces is, a lot of times pretty unbelievable, I think. And they're also in the right place at the right time, and that right time is now. And the right place is being in the space where, formal or, affluent customers that are used to going to high-end retailers like Nordstrom are trading down and looking for some discounts. So, we see the same thing with the Target versus Walmart kind of consumer trade that's going on. And so when we look at the data, we look at LikeFolio data, it becomes pretty clear that TJ Maxx and Marshalls are benefiting greatly from this. Those former Nordstrom shoppers are moving into those two stores at a blistering pace and, really proving out the entire TJ Maxx business model. And just like you said, this is a company that has become truly experts at buying the leftovers of other stores at a very, very cheap price. Sometimes at the same cost or less than it would cost the companies to throw it away, and turning that into a gold mine for its customers, giving them extreme savings and giving the company itself high profit margins on everything that goes out the door. There's always inventory risk with this company. There's always a risk of, the macroeconomic trends or consumer trends shifting on them. But generally speaking, they've been extremely good at staying ahead of the curve on both fronts, giving customers what they want. They have a very high consumer happiness score at LikeFolio. And so, in summary, this is just a company that executes a game plan really well all the time. And right now, they've got the wind at their back in a big way, economically speaking, and we don't see that changing anytime soon. So they're the beneficiaries of a big macro trend, and they're experts at taking advantage of it. So we are, we still remain bullish on TJX here.
So Andy, it seems like there is obviously some perceived risk out there. Do you think that the risk is more internally in their management of inventory, or is there any type of competition type of risk that might be coming on the horizon here? Obviously, we are seeing a shift within the space. Do you think that there's more internal risk or external risk when it comes to TJX?
Well, I think the risk would be mostly external because, again, this is a company that I think has proven itself to be, masterful at executing its game plan. So this is a company where we truly trust management. And, of course, there are one-offs where they might miss, some seasonal trend or something like that. But that's pretty rare. The external risks, I think, are more on the macroeconomic front than the competitive front. I think on the competitive front, they've actually benefited a lot from a lot of this tariff stuff and, kind of the shutdown of a lot of those kind of Chinese knockoff competitors. It's just not as cheap to get those goods into the country anymore. And instead they buy theirs from wholesalers and from retailers that have already paid those taxes. So all in all, I think they're in a good spot. The macroeconomic condition that would change our outlook would be if consumer spending just fell off of a cliff, that's going to hurt everybody. We don't see that happening. The other scenario would be if consumers go back to trading up start moving back from Walmart to Target, start moving back from TJ Maxx to higher end posh retailers. We don't see that happening anytime soon either. The economy's kind of in this tug of war state, and we think that continues for quite some time.
Andy, let's dive into your data, because you brought us a chart showing affluent shoppers turn to discount retail, and it shows Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Ross Stores, Burlington Coat Factory, or just Burlington, I guess. And what do you make of this data? Is this a affluent shoppers don't feel comfortable but are getting more comfortable now going back to these stores and looking for this treasure hunt idea of shopping? Is that why is this holding? Why is it prevalent not just in Marshalls and TJ Maxx, but across the board? Remember, it started in Walmart when affluent shoppers started trading down to going to Walmart. Now you're seeing it. Your data shows it's in apparel as well, Andy.
Yeah, I think it's both. So there's macroeconomic conditions, maybe people's getting a little bit tighter with their wallet, but I also think that there's just less of a perception that it's trading down. I think word has begun to really spread, and word of mouth with these companies is an extremely important factor in their marketing and their get out the message campaign. And it works because people find really great deals at a TJ Maxx, and they tell their friends about it, and all of a sudden, when you're at a dinner and you compliment somebody's shirt and it's seemingly, a higher end brand, and they say, yeah, I got this at TJ Maxx for X dollars, that is half as much as you thought they would have had to pay. Now, all of a sudden, going into TJ Maxx yourself sounds more reasonable. It sounds less like trading down. I think that also happened at Walmart. They upped their game. And so I think the gap between, kind of affluent shopping and trading down to a TJ Maxx has closed quite a bit, which again speaks to the really great execution story that this management team has put together.
All right, Andy Swan, we appreciate your data as always. Thanks for coming on. Talking about TJX, a great conversation to show the data behind the theory that everyone talks about. Affluent buyers are trading down to these discount retailers. Thanks for coming on, Andy. All right, Kev, you got a trade for us in TJX. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, so this is actually going to be a two-part trade.